is Mia Guillory, and welcome to Youth Talk We Listen. Today's topic is called potluck. Myself and my husband Terrance are going to have a dialogue about multiple different topics today. But I want to start off first by saying on November 4th, we witnessed a historical moment when Barack Obama became the first African American president. Yay! And my first question for you, Terrance, is how do you feel about him getting the presidency?
Well, you know, it was something that I thought I would never see, and I'm sure you've heard the same sentiment,
Yes.
talking to your friends and family, that most of us thought we'd never see something like a black president in America during our lifetime. So just from witnessing that, I think we're all still in a little bit of shock, but it's already given the nation and the feel in the neighborhood of hope, and we can do anything.
Right. And you being a virgin voter, how was that?
You know, I never could really get into politics because it was always the same old faces doing the same old things. So I never really took advantage of my right to vote.
Okay.
You know, but it was so much electricity and passion around this election. Not only was a black man running, but also a woman. It just gave it kind of like that soap opera feel. So I kind of got involved watching CNN, you know, and talking about it to you every night. And we became involved into this whole politics in this election of '08. And it's just an amazing thing to see a black president. And I voted for the first time, so my vote did count.
Yay, thanks for the vote. It was fun. I just want to touch on that a little bit briefly. I think that him becoming president will inspire our youth. They can be and do anything. And the history books are going to look a lot different, with a little bit of color in them.
Well, a question that I would want to ask you about just this whole new feeling about Earth and revelation of a black president and just all these good things that happen. Today's youth, it seems like they're bombarded with so much, whether it's the computer or the video games or, you know, extracurricular activities. How do we encourage, you know, kids that are like, let's say between 8 and 21, you know, young adults, how do we encourage them to be like Barack and his wife and create a well-balanced life?
Well, I feel the key to any good relationship is love, lots of love, love and light. And I say that from a spiritual perspective, not necessarily a religious perspective, because I'm not religious, but I do believe in God and power is beyond me. So in saying that, I would hope people would find positive, youth especially, surround themselves in positive light or environment. And being young, it's your peers and it's so much stuff to experience and you don't know what's what, so you're just having a good time. It's just, this is new, this is new, this is new, this is new. Everything's fun and new. So to filter that out, being a young person, that's just experience. Life is a big experience. And you're talking from 14 to 21, your body goes through changes, you going through changes. So I don't know, just basically try to stay positive through it all, you know?
Yeah, I guess so, huh? Just living, just making it through that time in that space, because everyone who's made it through their adolescence has had pretty much those crazy experiences and those new experiences. And not knowing what's going on and arriving to adulthood to see, oh, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Exactly. Well, who inspires you?
Well, first of all, of course you do. I mean,
I'm flattered.
It's true. It's true. You do inspire me with just your friendship, first of all, your friendship and the way you are with the youth. You're always an inspiration to them, getting them involved, making them feel noticed, you know, whether they're the smartest kid or the most athletic kid, you always make them feel special and you get them, you know, get them going with good encouragements, you know, you spend time with them, have events. But I would have to say, you know, who inspires me today is probably the same person who inspired me growing up, which would be my mom.
Okay.
My mom, being a single parent, having me at a very young age, you know, and she's always been there for me, even when it didn't seem like it from my point of view, from a kid's point of view. Once you grow up, get a little bit older, you start to see how valuable and how much your mom loves you. You know, if you're lucky enough to have a parent, you know, that's able, then it's something that you should cherish and really be proud of. And all you kids out there, make sure you tell your parents you love them every day. You know, if you got one mom or one dad, doesn't matter, a step parent, tell them you love them, because you never know, you know, where that person is going to be or where you're going to be.
Or a grandmother.
Or grandmother.
Or aunt. Or foster parents. Some people have foster parents.
That's true.
So.
Who inspired you growing up?
Who inspired me? I think my grandmother did, most of all. She had a drive and a will that was amazing. She just did a lot of things for a lot of people. She was real community involved, church involved, and she was really had a big heart and gave a lot. So I think her and my grandfather, growing up with them, and they were kind of old school, but at the same time, old school, you had to kind of stick together more, so it was a lot more love there to me than what I noticed from the families of today. There's like a lot of division and a lot of anger. So I think that having the old school helped me a lot as far as who I am today, because I had a lot of love there. Through it all, I was a lot of love. Well, my next question for you would be, we have small children at home, and they're our little mini-me's. And as people, we are all reflections of one another. So what have you learned about yourself through your children? And what kind of reflection are you trying to give our children?
Okay. From a real small point or perspective, I noticed some of the things I hear my kids say that I didn't know I was saying. You know, just the way I would say a phrase, or, you know, a way I would hug or kiss my daughter. You know, she does the same thing back to me. So you start seeing the little things that you do that you would never notice until you see a little person that looks just like you doing those things. And those are things that are just priceless, and you try to hold on to those memories. But on a large scale, the responsibility of having another life that you brought into this world, and making sure that seed or that child is given every opportunity or fair chance to become what it's supposed to be.
How do you create that fair chance with all the distractions of the outside world? We have holidays and toys and all these different things that the kids want. I want, you know. So how do you do that? Give them that fair chance.
Well, I can only answer this from one perspective, and as you brought up, love and light. I'm a new parent, so I can only answer it from a parent who's had the limited experience that I've had, but I've also helped raise my brothers and sisters, so I had a little bit more experience then and watching them grow. But if you're a new parent, I would say the time you put in from birth to about age 5 or 6 is the most important time you could spend, because of all those distractions that pull the children away and want them to do their own thing. But that time, being there at home every day, you might be broke, you know, maybe not work, you know, having the career you want or the lifestyle you would like to have, but that 5 or 6 years is something you can never get back, but it's invaluable to those children. Just seeing a mother and father in the home, I can tell the difference between our children and myself growing up, and even the children within my family and children I've seen that don't have both parents in the house who are active with them and who are both, you know, in agreement on how they discipline the children, and spending time with them doing arts and crafts and ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, I mean, you know, school. So that's how you create that is like that solid foundation for a child today. From my point of view, is being there for those first 5 years. I'm
going to elaborate a little bit. I was saying about reflections. You know, parents, or you hear older people say, "You do as I say, not as I do." But how impactful really is that statement to say that if children are sponges and they emulate everything you do, every little thing you do, and communication across the board is always not interpreted or conveyed where we can all understand, you know. So in that being said, you gotta not kind of like be a good reflection, you know, and not do as I say, not as I do, because they're watching you. The children are watching. So what do you tell parents, you know, about the child watching, you know?
Well, we were kids before too, and we know that parents think that kids don't know what's going on, but they do. They may not know specifics, but they can kind of feel the energy in a room or what's kind of going on, or it will be foreign to them. So I would be one of those parents that say, do as I do. And what they see me doing every day builds that foundation. What they see me doing every day is a reflection that I would want my children to have of me. Okay. You know, those are a positive, very positive influence.
Okay, so to go back to that, my mom was on drugs a lot of my life, and I got to watch that. So if there's not always something positive to visualize, how do you get your children back from that visual they saw?
I think you would be best at answering that question because you've lived that experience. And I have too, but mine wasn't as up close and personal as yours was. My mom basically, you know, raised me,
right,
and while my biological father was out in the streets on drugs.
What I would say is choice, you know. I think my mom took a different choice or a different approach. But because of her choices and her mistakes that I got to watch, it made me real skeptical or apprehensive to do any of those things. As far as drugs or anything, I think that it's very important to take the negative and turn it into a positive. And all the things that she did, my choice was not to do those things. But some kids just say, well, my mom, dad did it, so I'm gonna do it, you know? So how do we get them back or tell them something, or are they just lost causes at this point?
My mom used to say something to me. She used to say that you come in the world alone and you die alone. You may have friends, family, and experience in between that time, but your decisions are your decisions. And as far as getting that back and reeling those children in, it's almost, I hate to use this comparison, but it's almost like a rescued animal in a way. You know, there are always going to be some issues when you rescue an animal from the pound. There are going to be some issues because of the psychological damage that's done. And that's with any of us. That's right. Any person. Adults, children, anybody's going to have psychological damage. But to undo that, there first has to be a willingness by the person who has the damage to recognize it and let it go.
Okay.
No matter how much money you put in your kid's bank account, no matter how many pharmaceutical drugs you put in your system, no matter how many chiropractic appointments you go to, no matter how many sets you work out at the gym, you have to have the desire within you to heal, to let things go that are pulling against you. So I would have to say it's individual based. I mean, we were fortunate enough to have people in our lives that we could call role models. Maybe not the perfect role models, but we had role models. You know, people who were there for us, that took care of us, clothed us, you know, gave us food, put a roof over our head, made sure we got to school.
Right.
That word choice you brought up, my mom, even though she was a young mother, I never even knew that I wasn't rich, or I knew that I didn't have, or because my mom made sure I had everything. You know, no matter what, my mom made sure whatever she had to do, I would never know because she didn't show me that, and that brings up boundaries. You know, you can't be your kids' friends, even though you would love to because they look like you and they're so cute and adorable and they love you no matter what. You have to set a healthy boundary with your children, and that's another part of building that foundation.
So that goes back to honesty, being honest and setting that boundary, and also being a disciplinary when something is not okay in that environment with your child. Okay.
So going back to reeling children in and reeling people in, it's not a lost cause, but it has to be the person's cause. It has to be their desire. You know, and if it's a child, hopefully, God willing, that child grows up and they're able to address those issues then, because it's just impossible for a child to work out all those type of issues in that short